Yes. All right, comment. Okay, it's gonna be just a few more seconds. I'm waiting on a phone call from a friend. But in the meantime, let me find something for you. We'll just go with some. I need. Give me 1 second, please. So we're just waiting for a friend, Joe Blow. Glad to see you're back. It'll be just a moment more. Let's see if I can get this off here. All right. See. Okay, we're waiting on our guest again, Tracker Steve. We did have to switch guests tonight. We did have to switch guests tonight. One of our tracker friends had gotten a little under the weather. So let me see if I can contact him again. Oh, that was actually my fault because I'm actually supposed to call him on the phone. Give me 1 second. And we're going to have to do it this way because I can show you the pictures and everything. We're going to have to do it this way because StreamYard is not able to get me a guest on. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
All right.
Good. We're on air right now, so I was just gonna give you a quick introduction, and we can kind of start from there.
All right.
Are you comfortable? You at home?
Yeah, just sit down.
Oh, good. Well, if you got time, you can get you a quick drink or something. I'll just do a quick introduction for you, and then we'll get started.
All right.
Okay, I'd like to welcome a tracker friend of ours. We say Tracker S or Steve. He's out of a place that we tracked near his area. He's one of the best trackers that we've ever been with. He can tell you quite a bit about what's out in the area, and he can sure track anything in that area. So we had the privilege of meeting with Tracker S and visiting, and he shared a lot of information and knowledge about his area. And so we're going to ask him a couple of questions just to kind of lead into this, and then we're going to let Steve tell us all about his area and the things that he's seen, and the activity in his area is more what we're interested in, and then we'll just kind of mix in some questions. So, Steve, we're here in Oklahoma, so if you could kind of give us kind of a lead in on when some of these first things started that you noticed, or has it always been that way, or just kind of let you go with that start?
Yeah, we kind of had a lot of activity like this. It just, I think it seems like there's a little more activity around my house, probably during the winter months, during the cooler months, during the summer months. It seems like everything's more scattered out, I think maybe in the wintertime, maybe they're kind of like staying more to a home territory, where there's a food source and all. But yeah, it's kind of been like this for, quite some years now. And of course, and then we got a lot of government land around here, and the government buying up even more land, so it's pretty secluded too, there's not a lot of people living around in the woods.
So like, when did you first have you always noticed activity of like Bigfoot activity, or has it more like in the last 3 years just kind of shown up, or has it always been around there?
Well, it's kind of always been around here, but I've kind of noticed an increase here in, say, past 3 or 4 years, really, when the government started buying up more land, and then they'd buy up more land and buy out people's property, and then the people would move away, so it seemed like it's increased a lot more then. I guess there's more woods then, when these people aren't living on those farms anymore, then there's just more area.
Yeah, we've noticed in the last 3 years there's been an influx of activity. Well, at least here around where we're at in Oklahoma, and a lot of people in other areas have reported like a increase in like the last 3 years. I was just kind of wondering if you've seen more in the last 3 years, like everyone else, or has it?
For me, the activity's kind of been the same. I may hear a lot more than I did, or maybe I started noticing it a lot more now. But I seem to hear a lot more at night than I did, a few years ago. But there's also been an increase of, like missing children and missing women and all too. In say the past 5 years.
Wow, we didn't know that. We didn't know that.
And I try to blame a lot of it on something else, but it's strange because your kids is going outside and playing, and they just come up missing, and nobody ever finds them. Nobody around. So they try to say, oh well, they was abducted, by somebody. Well, they're out in the woods. There were no people around, so you can't use that.
I'm sure that's been used before, though.
Yeah. They go, they're going to go whatever they think the most logical solution is, instead of really investigating things anyway.
What's the distance from your house that they've been the closest, or do they often come to the household area?
Oh, they often come around my house. Yeah. I know when there's something going on outside at night. And a lot of times, little dog, she hears it and she starts barking and stuff, and I can hear stuff outside. So I know they're out there messing around. I don't never mess with anything, but sometimes you know, you have food scraps you throw out. I throw out food scraps, and you know, you can hear something like something brushing up against the house, you know, and you know the house is up on blocks, and so you know it's not like some little furry animal like a coon or a possum, you know.
Yeah, and you would know. I know you would know.
Yeah, yeah. Or if you feel something, it's like something bumps up against the house and the house shakes. You know that's not a coon.
Yeah, we know. You know, it's good talking with people who know and people who have firsthand experience because we understand and we know exactly what you're talking about.
And we've had, and I know I probably sent them to you before, but you know, I've gotten some audios of some of the howls and screams at night. And, you know, a few people around here send me pictures from their game cameras, and you know, I think I sent you some pictures there, some game camera pics, and you know, if you look at it, it's like they're hiding behind the trees and they're looking toward the camera. It's like they know where the cameras is at, you know.
Yeah, they do.
I think they can see that infrared beam on the camera anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Even if you have night vision and you're looking at someone else's night vision, you can see how far that light goes.
Right. Right.
And they can see it too.
I think they can see it too. We can't see it with our eyes, but they can. And they know where it is, you know, and just they kind of avoid them.
Yeah, they'll use animals to set those game cams off to see if they still work or if they're still active also.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know when that happens too, when your game camera goes off and takes a video of a deer running just as hard as it can, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something's after it, you know. And then you don't never see anything chasing it then, you know.
Yeah. If those animals could, they would stay in that light all night if they could.
They know where things is, you know. And I don't know if they, you know, you got a lot of people in the woods that has game feeders out, you know, corn feeders out for the deer and all, you know. I don't know if they frequent those and eat corn too, but
yeah, they do, and they know that the deer come to eat and other animals.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They know where those corn feeders are at. They may not eat the corn, but then they're there ready to ambush the deer or the hogs, you know, whenever they leave the feeder.
Well, I know they eat corn. They're always in the fields whenever, like the ancestors and people talk about it, that they were always in those gardens.
The old people would say that they would go back on a hilltop somewhere in the woods and they'd plant a garden like as an offering to them, and then their garden that they had to live off of then never was messed with then.
Speaking of which, I'm showing the totem from that area that you're talking about. Is there any way you can kind of talk about where you found this, how you got your availability to it, and what was, I think it was going to be destroyed or something as one.
Yeah, it was just an old homestead, and the government had just bought up that land and that old homestead, and then the people was wanting it all cleaned up, and they had to clean it up and stuff, and they were saying, yeah, just pull all that stuff up and burn it, you know, and as I was digging through all this, I said, well, you know, this is some interesting stuff, so I was keeping things like, and I kept that totem, you know, and that was something that kind of went way back, and what I found out was they had that totem was out by the garden, and they would actually you know, it was like an offering bowl, you know, and
yeah, I'm showing the top also.
Cedar or sage in it, you know.
You are correct. Yeah, tell us some more. I mean, everything you can about where you found it. I mean, not where you found it, but you know what it was used for. And I think there was other totems with it also, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a few other things. You know, there's like a couple other things that was there. I found that I don't know. I didn't figure them out yet. It didn't make sense, but but yeah, that's just that was some of the things that the old people had did, you know. And, well, the ones that own this place now, they didn't know anything about the old people that lived there, and I didn't know a whole lot about the old people either. You know, I just know they lived way back in the woods, and you know, they didn't ever bother anybody, and nobody bothered them. You know.
Yeah.
And these people just ended up with the place because you know they inherited it, and then when the government come in buying up the land, then they, well, okay, I'll sell it. You know, and a lot of families that way that was around here, they had children or grandchildren that's moved away, you know, and then when they end up inheriting one of these places from the old people, then, you know, they've never been there. They've never seen it, and they don't know any of the customs or know anything about it. And so it's just things that I find out that I knew and stuff, and knew some of the old people that I've talked to about things. Is how I find out a lot of the stuff, because you know, just the young people just don't know anything about it.
Yeah, we found that none of these young people that we've even talked with, they don't know anything about the old ways or of the things that are happening right now as far as the Bigfoot and the predators in the areas.
They don't know anything about any of the old traditions or the old ceremonies or anything, you know. But,
yep. And all this, like this totem, everything was done for a reason.
Right, everything was done for a reason. They had a ceremony for everything, for every occasion, you know.
Yep, yep.
Kind of the stuff that's been lost to time, you know. You know, as far as people knowing any of their native language, people don't even know their native language anymore, you know. It was, you know, we've been taught English for so long that a lot of the old people is gone and don't speak a lot of it anymore, you know.
Yeah, we even been taught a lot of history to forget.
Yeah.
And a lot of this Bigfoot is in these histories.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, why would the old people have took the time and drawed this stuff on rocks if there wasn't something to it, you know?
Yep.
You know, why would they leave messages behind for others if there wasn't something to it, you know?
Yeah, it's been here and it's still feeding on people.
I think there's still a lot to learn about it, you know, that we're going to have to learn, you know.
Yeah.
Things the old people knew that never was taught to us or was forgotten about. We're just going to learn it all over again.
Yeah. Sure. Everybody sure does need to. We got some times coming up real fast.
Yeah.
So I also kind of want to talk about these pictures. And whenever we went to the mountain area with you,
yeah,
if you could kind of, right now I'm showing give me 1 second. Where's that? Okay, so this picture right here, it's from that whenever we first started tracking in your area. And we found all the coyote skulls in that area and all the structures.
Okay, yeah, the first place we stopped. Yeah.
Yeah.
That seemed like a dumping ground there, didn't it?
It sure did. And those rivers and those ravines and that boneyard. Well, we found boneyards there. I mean, in that first area that we tracked, and also on that other route where you showed us the other place up in the mountain.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was another park, huh?
Yeah. That was that first place we stopped was actually like some of the property that the Army has just acquired, and then when we went up the highway and went around to the other side again, that was actually National Forest there. But
yeah, okay.
You know what's strange about that boneyard is though, you know, when you look at that, you know, and I've looked at a lot of those bones to maybe see if I could see where something had chewed on them or whatever, you know, and it's hard to find. But what I find strange is though, you know, when you're looking there at it, you don't ever find any of the hides. You don't, you know how it is. You know, some of the stuff could have been dumped out by hunters, but you know, usually when hunters dump stuff out, they dump out the hide, you know, and there'll be hair and everything there. You know, you didn't find none of the hair or hides or anything. You know, you're basically finding bones.
Yeah, you remember we did find that one fox, that one that was left out for bait.
Yeah.
I got a picture of it on the screen right now. It looks like a baby red fox.
Yeah, probably a little. It was probably a little coyote because.
Okay. Okay.
And I remember talking about that because I had come by that area and there was like several dead coyotes laying there, and then later, then when I came back over there with y'all, whenever y'all come over with me, there was only that one. The others were gone. You know what would carry off a dead coyote?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think another coyote would come along and drag them off somewhere, you know? But, yeah, kind of strange.
Yeah, and even as we progressed up to the I believe that was a national park or something after the boneyard area.
Yeah, that was national forest, yeah.
And where the wild horses and everything were.
Right, where all the wild horses were.
And I was telling people that, and I think it's true, but I want to be sure. But did we go to the very furthest part of that road?
Yeah, we went around. We kind of went and we went around. We turned in that one road. And we kept making lefts, and we kept going back to the left, and we went to the end of that road, and that is actually part of the river there. That's where it starts at. That's like the heads of it, you know. They call it Little Kisatchie is what they call that, and that we was kind of like at the headwaters of it, and of course, yeah. If you remember when we was in there, though, we couldn't see a lot of sign. They had just burned all that off, and we couldn't see a lot of sign, but it was just dead. Really, no activity was in there, which that's strange. But I've gone back there since then, and even went and camped in there for a few nights, and it was getting pretty vocal one night, and they were actually getting pretty close to me, and because you would hear some howls, and you would start hearing the whistles. You would start hearing them whistling, and there was I think at one time there was probably 3 that was in, you know, in a different place around me, and so I just built the fire up bigger. And just sit there and listen.
I like the way you do things out there.
You hear a lot of vocals, and you know, and I've taken people with me before, and they would start hearing the howls and stuff, and they don't know what it is, so normally it scares them, and then there's some of the very little subtle sounds, and like the whistles and all. Oh, that's a bird, or that's something. Yeah. You know, that ain't no bird. You know, what birds sit out on the limbs and call at night? You know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times, you know, the vocals you hear is mistaken. You know, people just make some mistake. I mean, they don't know what it is. You know, they don't think about it. You know, like with the bird. You know, they're just not thinking. You know, birds don't call at night.
That is true. I wish people knew that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've heard I've heard yelps before. You know that. You know, some may say that those yelps was, you know, like a fox or a coyote that makes the yips. But if you really listen, if you come back home, you remember what that sounds like. You come back home and you go online and you look up some animal sounds and you listen to them, and you'll see how they're a little bit different. There's a little difference, and that's when I think they learn to mimic a lot of sounds that we make and other animals make.
Yeah, they even sound like chainsaws, automobiles, airplanes, thunder, lightning, everything.
You remember what our ancestors did when they hunted in the woods? That's how they talked to each other. They made animal sounds to talk to each other.
Yep.
How they hunted. And they probably, the Bigfoot probably learned a lot of his activity and a lot of his ways from watching us.
Yeah, we always tell people that parents teach Bigfoots how to lure their children into the woods. They'll use the hand signal to come here. They'll call their name, and the Bigfoots will watch that, and they'll call their name. They'll wave their hand saying, "Come here," and things like that. So we have to be careful with what we do in public or outside the home when we're talking and calling our children.
Right. Like some of these, like these kids that come up missing around these home places in the woods and all, they could have been lured away.
Yep. And Bigfoot
called them, and the child didn't know.
Yeah, and Bigfoots will even use puppies, cats to lure children out there. They don't use the big dogs. They use the little puppies, the little dogs, like a Chihuahua or something, that a child would go to.
Or a kitten.
Yeah, and I've had people tell me that all the time on their way home. They would see a dog in the forest and I said, "Well, what did you want to do?" And they said, "Stop and go out and feed it or help it." And I said, "Exactly. That's a trap."
Yeah.
But
and if it's an area, say like it's an area where you see this kitten or this puppy, and it's out in the woods or something, and it's and it's heavily wooded all around you, then yeah, that would be one of those traps I wouldn't want to walk into. But if it's kind of open, it's kind of an open area where I can see what's coming.
Yeah, because normally a puppy would run from the woods to the child or to the family or to the house, or once it broke out of that forest, that puppy would be looking for a home, people, and food. It wouldn't be setting. Yeah, it wouldn't be
where they hear sounds.
Yeah, it wouldn't be setting out in the forest calling and yelping. If it's that close and then those kids are around, it's coming to the people for food or water. But if it's out there in the forest, that's a trap.
And there is those people who will drive out in the forest and they're dumping dogs or cats, that they don't want.
Yep.
And usually when that happens, I've known several occasions where that's happened, and these puppies and these dogs and all, they would just disappear. And people say, "Oh well, the coyotes got them." But I don't necessarily think so. I don't necessarily think the coyotes come in and got them all.
Yeah, you're right. And people need to understand all this that we're talking about also.
Yeah. And let's see, last Saturday, I went back the same way that I went when you was here.
Uh-huh.
And when I first started going through when you start going through that road and you're going through that canyon, the road is kind of like in a canyon,
Yeah.
And so I stopped, and I started getting my camera set up. I was trying to get my camera to work and couldn't get it to work. And then I actually had something that it jumped into the middle of the road and then jumped from the middle of the road, then jumped up to the bank of the canyon on the other side. Just only took probably couple seconds,
Yeah.
It jumped out, it looked at me, and then jumped back out of the road. Then,
Yeah.
And so when I finally got the camera to work, then I went to that spot. I didn't see any tracks. I couldn't find anything. It was a rocky area,
Ah.
a lot of rocks there, and I think they know about where all that is at too. That
Oh yeah.
they know where the places are they can walk and not leave a track.
Yeah, when we go through those areas, we just look for like little scrapes on those rocks or little movement of any kind of pebble or any kind of indention, like even like a dot is what we're looking for.
Broken bushes.
Yep.
Occasionally you find hair. I know that other researchers have told me that they would find hair, and they find hair, and they bag it and try to have it tested, and then it just disappears somewhere. It never gets tested.
Oh yeah. We've got samples and things like that. We haven't given up, and we got our own kind of people looking into things for us.
I knew people with the Forestry Service, and the Forestry Service, they've always been told, if you see anything, don't tell nobody, don't say nothing. Or if there's something they find, some kind of evidence they find, it just gets disposed of. It never goes any further. And kind of around here, the Army's been the same way. If there's some incident or something happens, they just end up, well, you don't say nothing to nobody. That didn't happen. This is what happened. You've seen a horse, or you've seen a hog or something. You didn't see that,
Or a bear, like everybody says, huh?
Yeah, bear,
yeah. These people, I tell you. So, whenever you went camping, and you said you went by yourself, was it with that same area, general area? You said.
Yeah, I went back to that same place there where we had went to the end of that road.
That same place
where I camped at.
That same place.
Yep.
You did see some of the pictures we sent and showed people, right?
Yeah. And when we was in there, it had been just burned over a little, and of course when I went back and camped in there, then all the green stuff is put back up now, so you couldn't see, you couldn't see down through the woods like you could when me and you was there.
Oh my goodness, man.
So, you hear stuff and it's real close, and you see bushes and you can see the bushes move a little bit and everything. There's something there, but you can't see it,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I just ended up throwing more wood on the fire, make the fire bigger, make a white man fire,
Let's just make a big one tonight. Let's burn it if we got to. But yeah, those are good deterrents.
She hears something,
Yeah,
she'll bark a little bit, but she's kind of, she's not really scared of anything, but she starts barking, and then here she is up under my feet,
Yeah. Well, she hears something, and while we're talking, these things can be moving underneath the trailers and things like that, or close to the house, because we're making noise, and I apologize for that.
And it seems like around my house, it's like maybe right when the sun is setting, maybe just a little after sunset. That's when I start having a lot of vocals at that time.
And do you have any?
They start calling each other, it's time to go here and hunt or whatever.
Yep. So have you heard the one chirping bird out there on 2 sides of you, or 3 sides?
Yeah, I've heard the chirping birds before. Yeah, I actually hear those quite often, and yeah, I don't know what it means, but
well, it means they're surrounding you. If you hear one over here, one over there, one over here.
Yeah. A lot of times when I'm sitting out at night, I hear it. I'll just hear just one of them, just one of those little chirping birds, and it's pretty close. And I've come to the conclusion that maybe that's one sitting there watching me, and telling the others, yeah, I see him right here,
Yeah, it is. It is. Every time you come out of the house, if you listen, you're gonna hear that call.
Yeah.
That's the call. Oh, he's just come out of the house.
Or yeah, there's something here, and then there's other people that could tell you the same thing that's been here to my place, and there would be right at sundown, there would be the calls, and then it would all go quiet. Never would hear nothing. People come here so they could hear the vocals that I hear, and they just, it's all quiet. There's no vocals.
They know.
And as soon as those people would leave, then they start getting real vocal again. They know when there's somebody strange that don't belong in that area too.
You're right. Now, speaking of people visiting, could you tell us a little bit about the BFRO? Because everybody talks about how they're the best or whatever, and that if you have problems, that you call these people. And my personal experience with them is I never even got a phone call back when we were reporting these things. And then everybody was telling us, don't even report it to them because they're going to cover up.
Yeah, they don't come out. And there was, I don't know if I was telling you about the one lady that lives over here by me. She's a Choctaw lady, and her son he's gotten some videotape when he was walking down the road, where one came out at him,
Oh wow!
Like charged him, and he's fiddling with his cell phone, trying to get some video of it. And it's shaky and all that because he's scared and he's running down the road and everything, and he's getting the video at the same time. But
yeah,
and she's actually contacted BFRO, and they spoke to her about it a little bit, and pretty much blowed it all off. And so I kind of followed up on it and talked with her a lot more. And I'm going to try to get up and visit with her here one day pretty soon. And she's like it is in her place is like it is here at mine. You start hearing a lot of vocals at night, and where she's living at, I mean, she's living like in the big woods. There's like no houses or no farms or anything around where they live.
Wow.
She's completely secluded. So you can't say that it's dogs barking and all that kind of stuff, or it's, people playing music or whatever, it's none of that.
Yeah.
And,
so she's surrounded out there then.
Yep. She's all surrounded by big woods, and she said there is people that hunts around her, there's some hunt clubs around them that hunt. And she said other people have seen stuff too, but I said a lot of people are like reluctant to ever say anything. But my area here, in the area where she's at, when there was some stuff that was being reported, and BFRO come out one time, and then just it was like in the local newspaper and everything. The local news was talking about it because they was here, and they got a permit then to go and track and look in the national forest, and they pretty much just kind of blow a lot of things off, because I've noticed what they do, and if anybody's ever been on one of their hunts, you'd know what I'm talking about. They come and they have cameras and they have lights, and there's like 50 people in a group, and
oh,
you're not gonna see anything then.
That's probably the reason why they do that, so they don't see anything.
That's why they don't see anything.
Yeah.
But it's like somebody alone or two people out there, that they're the ones that sees things, and
yep.
Of course, naturally just being quiet, and being like a hunter,
Yep. You're right.
Yeah, if you're making all that racket and you're playing the radio and banging on the pots and pans, you know, you're not going to see anything. You probably won't hear anything either.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said here at my place, I've noticed that they know when there's something different in the area.
Sure do. They have sentries. They're there keeping tabs on everything. I also want to actually talk to you because you remember the dog that hit on the tree and felt like it was just going to jump up into the tree or climb the tree when it was out there tracking?
Yeah.
And we looked, and none of us could see what it was, but the translucent beings, you know, they blend in really well.
Yeah. Well, the dog ain't gonna lie. When she says there's something up there's something up there.
Oh yeah, she looked like she was trying to climb the tree to let us know it's right there. You know, she was.
Yeah, he's like saying, "Dumb humans, he's right there."
Shoot. But yeah, that was good that she alerted, and I don't know if we got pictures or not, but if we did, we need to go and look through those.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of pictures when we went up there, and then I lose a lot of stuff sometimes, but just in the past couple of days, I found out, you know, what happens when I store some of my pictures and video. I found where it's going to. It's actually going to another app on my phone. So I've been doing that when I get time now. I sit down, I'm looking through all my stuff now to see, you know, things that I've lost that I'd really like to take a closer look at, you know.
Yeah. And we have we're able to blow some pictures up and things like that on ours. So if you got any pictures you might want to send to us to look at, we can blow it up on ours and kind of get in really good with it.
Yeah, and then I don't remember I ever sent you the picture or not. Remember there was a picture when I was down in the river walking in the water, and then I was shooting some video and some pictures way up on the bank, you know, going back up the canyons. I was taking some pictures and stuff, and I just kind of accidentally got that picture of the one. It looked like he was laying down, you know, and he heard me and he just sits up, you know. Yeah. You can see his upper torso and his head. You know?
Yeah.
Did I send you that picture or?
No, but you talked to us about it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to send you that picture because I remember seeing that now. I found that picture because I didn't, a lot of the stuff I don't save. I do the videos and I post the pictures and then I end up deleting them off my phone then because I don't want to take up all my storage space. But now that I found the app that it's sending them to, I've found all that now. So I'll be able to go through all that and find my pictures and videos, all the stuff.
That would be good. And you know, like I said, if you want, you can send us some also, and we'll look at some and blow them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to get that to you. I just have a lot of problems here. A lot of times even getting a phone signal or getting an internet signal.
Okay. And also, whenever we did some tracking in the area and we came upon that, while you was in the canyon, we were maybe 50, 60 yards from you, I guess.
Yeah, I was like up on the hills.
Yeah, and that's where we found those other structures.
Yeah.
And it was all in that area. I mean, that spot you wanted to track, that was the spot right there. I mean, as far as you could get in there, they were set up right there.
Yeah. But I'm sure there was, you know, they were probably more active in those areas that we was at night because, you know, after they burnt that off, there was no cover in there. So
yeah, you're right.
They were hid somewhere when we were there.
Yeah,
and I'm sure they knew we was there too.
Oh yeah, they knew. But they also knew by the way we were tracking and moving that we weren't campers or hikers, you know.
Yeah. And I think too, I think they're like a lot of other animals too that get sense when something's gonna harm them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how your dog is. They just sense when somebody's bad. And then they sense when somebody's good. That's the person they run to, and they're leaking all over.
Yeah, yeah. I know whenever we was up there, I know that the Bigfoots can mimic different sounds. And Tracker E and myself, we heard a like a military comm, check or something.
Right. Right. It's like you was hearing the speaker on a radio or something. Like there was people talking. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and
but you couldn't make the talking out.
No, and there was nothing there in that area. I mean, there was of course something there, but hidden.
There was no
well
people
hidden.
Around.
Yeah, it was well hidden.
There was no people around. There was no, you're out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around.
Yeah.
And, because at one point it seemed like to me it sounded like children talking and playing.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you saying that.
And then y'all said, well, it kind of sounded like a radio, like somebody talking on the radio.
Yeah, like the military would be talking to each other. So
right.
These things have been around that base.
Yeah. And because like on the other side of the highway from where we was at is Army land, and the Army does train in there, but the Army doesn't train on the side where we was at. It's that National Forest side. They don't train in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what several miles for us. Is nothing to them. That whole area, is their hunting ground and their home. So.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've heard a lot of that. They've probably heard a lot of that from the military training.
What they call a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
Right across the road and up the canyon.
Yeah. Just a short ways away. And there they are,
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that these Bigfoots can mimic, people, sounds, birds, cars and things like that.
And we had a guy one night when I used to work out on the ranges at night for the night fire. We had one of the guys that worked with us, one of the civilians that worked with us. He hit something, and it's like the front of this Ford truck when he hit it, it looked like he hit a tree, the way it bent it in, and. He come back to the office and everything, and he was all scared and everything. He said, I hit a Bigfoot, I hit a Bigfoot. I was looking at his truck, seeing the front of it where it was bent, and then further up on the hood, close to the windshield, it was all dented in and bent there, and it looked like the way it was bent in, it looked like a handprint that was bent in. And the boss kept telling me, well, I can't write that up on the accident report. I can't say that. He said, you hit a horse. He said, no, it was Bigfoot. No, it was a horse, and finally they convinced him to write up the accident report that he ran into a horse, and then after he done that, then wildlife was out there the next day looking all around for this horse they thought they was going to have to put down, because it'd been hit by a truck. And nobody ever finds this horse,
Yeah, no horse at all.
Yeah.
So they had.
Where's this horse that he hit? Never could find nothing.
Oh yeah, and, put an indention like that in. If you hit a horse, that would have, broke some bones. That horse would have been in pain.
Yeah, it wouldn't have went very far.
No.
Yeah. So and then one of the wildlife guys told me, he said, I was going down that canyon, and he said, man, I got into a place in there, and I said, I started getting a real eerie feeling and everything, and said, I started hearing things, and he said, so I left.
That's what he should have done. Exactly what he should have done.
And where that happened at, that would have been that same creek in the canyon that eventually ends up where we was at. So
yeah, that runs right into it.
Yeah, that'd have been that same canyon where we was at.
Yeah, I like going to places whenever there's another tracker there, or at least people who know that Bigfoot is in their area, so that whenever we go to people's places, it's like they understand that we know, so we're able to track with people and to share what we know in that area, so that um everyone leaves with more information on both parties. And we do appreciate all the information that you gave us, and even showing us your tracking skills. And it was you did. I mean, from my point of view, you did a great job on tracking. Even in the car, that was. I was thinking, man, this guy could track.
You need to get back and do it again here pretty soon.
Yeah, we sure do. And we'll also we want to keep up with you, and I mean we keep up anyway on our messages, but as far as bringing you back to talk about new or activity or things like that in that area.
Yeah, still need to get up your way. And if you remember, we was going to work on this trip that one time, and we was going to go check out some caves there in Arkansas and all. But
yeah,
and there was just some of them old legends of the area where the old people talked about giants. They talked about these giants that lived in the woods. I don't actually, I don't think it was actual giant people.
Yeah.
And I think they said a lot of things just mistaken identity. And there was so many of the old stories that I was investigating into. There was the Choctaw Cavalry had so many stories that was told of the people they had to protect and all. So.
Yeah, and a lot of people they protected didn't know and weren't warriors and didn't have their weapons, and
there's truth to a lot of those old stories.
It sure is.
And and like I said, it's just mistaken identity. It was a giant. And then I've heard people would say, oh, it was feral people. Feral people that's the funniest thing I've ever heard right there.
Yeah, they'll use anything they can to not say Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And also, when you're looking for things like that, you would look under categories or search engines for things like unconclusive or cryptid, or you wouldn't look for Bigfoot. You would look for prowler man, or big prowler man, or something like that, or big brown bear is a code word also.
And there's been other things that were people has had something get after them in the woods, and they really got scared, and I think they say was a Bigfoot, but I start listening to what they're telling me and what they're describing me, and I think it was a dog man, it was probably guarding a burial ground there,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of mistaken identity like that too. So
yeah, and also some of them have the hooves, so it's just whatever DNA that they have at that time. But
yeah,
so I mean, I've had guys contact and talk about it sounded like big heavy hooves running. They would say hooves. They wouldn't say feet or like a dog man. They would say hooves. They would say.
Yeah, or the skinwalker. In the western tribes, they would say the skinwalker.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's whatever DNA they had at the time, that's what they became, whether it be dog-like or goat-like or whatever.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That is correct. I appreciate you saying that, letting people know.
And And I don't know, if you talk to, I've tried talking to some of these elders before about that, and they won't talk about any of that. They just say that, talking about it and just, thinking about them, discussing it and everything can conjure them up. That was kind of their belief. So, you couldn't get a lot of the elders to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but basically now, if you just walk outside the door, you can find signs.
Yeah.
But I also want to let you know that anytime you're ready to, come down this way, maybe spend a day or, a couple of days or something, we got a place here for you. So,
yeah, I'm fixing to. I have got to, my truck with the camper that I go on all my little trips and all with like this is, needing a water pump. So,
okay.
I've just been neglecting to do that. I need to get out and do some mechanic work.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about going ahead and close tonight because I want to get you back because I know you got activity. I know you know what you're doing out there, and I want to hear from you again. I want people to hear from you again, actually, because you always have a lot of information on things in your area.
Okay.
And
just let me know whenever.
Okay. I was waiting for you to talk.
Do what?
I was waiting for you to talk, but I was also going to say that once you do get this way, get that pump fixed, and get here as soon as you can. That we got a lot of things here we'd like to show you and places to take you and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that real soon.
Okay, because
right.
it'll be good to have other trackers in this area to show other people too what we do.
Okay.
All right, man. This was a great night with you, Steve, and I appreciate everything and all the information.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll talk with you later, then.
All right. Thank you, Steve, and I will be in contact with you, man.
All right.
So tonight, we had another tracker, a well-known tracker. The man is he's experienced in. I mean, if you ever went out with this man, you would know he knows what he knows, and he can tell you anything about that ground and that land, what's went through it, how many's went through it, the different prints, different types, and that's why he's very important to our tracking group. He sees things that another tracker doesn't see, but we have other trackers that see different things. That makes us a great team because we all are looking for different things. And when you put a team together like that, you will always find exactly what you're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and close tonight. Tomorrow night, we have April Atkins coming on to talk about activity and experiences that is happening in their area. And then the night after that, we're going to juggle a little bit because we do want to have special guests. We also want to have special people to observe whenever other people talk about their experiences, because we are training and teaching people also. The Bigfoot documentary, buy the Bigfoot documentary, $101. It gives you all the experience, all the techniques, all the training. It gives you visuals, audio, things that you need to know about the Bigfoot to be out safe, to be with your family in safe areas. Buy that Bigfoot documentary. You can contact through Facebook, which is not through Facebook, but on my page and in my two group pages, or the team's group pages. The first one is Oklahoma Bigfoot Predator Watch, in parentheses, antlers and surrounding areas. The other one is the Choctaw Missing and Murdered Woman, WOMBMAN, and Son Center Database. Those are two group pages that you can join and be updated with these um, live streams and updates. We may not be posted on too many more um, other group pages because, like this one here, this is the Bigfoot community page that I got today, and it says that I can no longer comment and didn't give me a reason. But if everybody knows, it's the reason of what we're sharing. We have more information than anyone in the world that is allowed to share to you. There are people with this information. They're just not sharing it with you. So in that Bigfoot documentary, you will get all the answers that you need, and you can help other people, and this will help you also. Thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow. We do have another special guest, and we should have an observer tomorrow also as well. And this observer has watched the documentary, so you will see tomorrow what this documentary can do to one person who watches the documentary. So make sure you buy the Bigfoot documentary. You can only get it through here, or a flyer on maybe my Facebook page or in those two group pages. You need the video. Thank you very much, and I will see you again tomorrow, 7 p.m. with a different tracker. Ivy May, thank you. Uncle Bones too, thank you for commenting. Cordidian, Joe Blow, all you guys, thank you for tuning in. I will see you again tomorrow. We are starting this back up strong. We got a long list of scheduled people, either first-hand experience or trackers, or we will have observers here. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Everyone have a great night.